If you're a beginner in credit cards, these are three types of cards you should absolutely stay away from. Tread carefully when it comes to these types of credit cards. In the future, when you get more experience, these cards are fine. They're not inherently bad, but as a beginner, these are the three you should stay away from. So, the first one might be a little controversial, but I'm going to say points based cards. Points based cards are cards that you get points from spending on them. I would say that these are not good for beginners because they are a little bit more complicated, especially if you go to partner cards. But even if you're talking about an Amex, Blue Business Cash, or a lower tier card, no annual fee that has points as its foundation, I think those are a little bit more complicated for beginners, and I think that beginners should lean towards cashback. And I think having a card with cashback as a beginner is a good way to learn and understand how credit rewards work, and how even just understanding the basics and the fundamentals. And you can kind of go to the points based cards later and understand the transferring and all that type of stuff. But I think points based cards is a little too much for a beginner in credit cards. um I know I've seen a lot of people in my own experience that don't really understand it, and they kind of they're gonna not make the best decisions with those points as well, not understanding the transfer methods, and obviously the worth of points based on different airlines and different banks. Like, it gets deeper when it comes to points based cards and points when it comes to banks and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think so. I think you should just deal with cash back in the beginning, and that's a great way to be introduced to the rewards in credit cards. Number two is going to be annual fee credit cards. Now, these ones catch a lot of flack from people in general. Most people don't really know much about credit cards, so that's one of the reasons it gets a lot of flack. But I do agree that as a beginner in credit cards, you don't need to be paying more money just from having the card in general. So many people with credit already struggle with spend and debt and all that. It's not worth it to have this other added thing, even though it's one time per year. But especially when it could be 100 plus. A lot of the annual fees, especially for good cards, start at about 100, $95. So and it could get more, obviously. So I don't think you should be dealing with that as a beginner. Again, my advice to a beginner would be, get your feet wet, understand the system and how, credit rewards and the whole process works before getting, these types of cards. Like, get at least two cards that are simpler and then move on. But yeah, I mean, those perks don't matter as much when you're in that beginning stage anyway as well. Like I said, you should just be learning, because there is a lot of depth to credit cards that you can learn to maximize your potential and rewards. It can be as simple as you want it to be with credit cards, but it can also be as thorough as you want it to be. So annual fee, that's another one that's a little bit over the curb. Just leave it there at the beginning is my advice. Third is high limit cards. I think high limit cards are, again, not good for most people, because most people are going to be susceptible to those limits. I mean, that sounds like a story that everybody's heard before, that this person got a credit card with this crazy limit, and it just messed them up. So I wouldn't advise that. Obviously, I think that's one of the most understood ones, especially being younger, especially not knowing how credit works. Again, this is towards beginners. If you don't know, like, seeing that limit, if you're not the right type of person, you're gonna see that limit and think, oh, I got $5,000 to spend, I have $10,000 to spend, whatever the case. Again, when you're starting out, just deal with the basics, beginner level, not anything complicated and all that. Keep it simple and learn the process and learn about, how it goes with credit cards. So those are my 3 types of credit cards you should stay away from as a beginner. Let me know if you guys have any questions, or tell me what you think about the video. Give me any feedback. I will see you guys in the next video.